Hello Arvind. Hello Saurabh. Arvind has just given you the access of moderator. Okay. So yeah, you have the access now. Hello Saurabh. Hello Tushar. Hello Suraj. Saurabh, guys, you can speak. Is there access to speak because we are using a new platform? So you guys able to speak? Suraj, Tushar.
Not sure if they can speak. I think they should.
Yeah, they should speak. Let me just test with one. Hello Akshita.
Gajanan is Ruchi joining?
Ruchir is I just pinged him. He will join like in couple of minutes. Let's wait for 5-10 more minutes, right? And then we will wait for a few folks to join. Okay,
Mm,
so Suraj is saying they can't speak. Okay, so let me see if I can give you guys the access to speak somewhere. Hmm. Hello Kirti. I'm just working on guys to give you guys access.
can't it make everyone, I mean, all participant can speak, right?
I think there is access given to all participants anyway to speak. I'm not sure why they don't have it.
So,
I am just making you guys moderators, so you should speak now. Okay. Saurabh, uh, can you guys speak now? Guys, if possible,
you can turn on your video if you want.
yeah, you can turn on. Apologies, my camera is having some issue, but yeah, if you
Why you
guys want,
okay? So,
I think everyone should have the access now to speak. So, um, I think I know Tushar. I met him last. Akshita, I know. Saurabh Kirti. Uh,
We can unmute now.
yeah, I just give you guys access to speak because I want this
Okay.
session to be more, vocal, not just one side. Amazing.
So, do we have to wait again? I mean, do we have more participant to join?
Yeah, meanwhile, Arvind, you can just start with your introduction. The recording is on anyway, right? You can just get started with your introduction and all. Meanwhile, other participant will join. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. No. Give 2 minutes more.
No problem.
Then we'll start.
Hello, Vinod.
Hi Gajanan, hi Anand.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, I very well. Like very good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Guys, we will just start session in like a couple of minutes. Okay. So hold on. So Arvind has a very crisp understanding on UiPath apps, and he has uh, a unique feature that is unified apps. He will walk you through that. So just hold on for a couple of minutes.
Okay, guys, maybe we can start. And thank you, Gajanan. Thank you for setting up this call. And hello, everyone. My
Hello,
name. Let me share my
hello,
screen.
Lalit. Okay.
1 second. Let me share my screen. Okay, let me
Guys
know.
have guys, we have given a moderator access to everyone, so you can speak during this call. So feel free to ask any question. Arvind and me is there to help you for anything. Okay. So Arvind, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So my name is Arvind, and I'm UiPath MVP, and I'm founder of ProInception, and we are working on low-code and RPA solutions. So we'll talk today about the UiPath unified apps and why, what are the difference between unified apps from the previous, you can say BB apps or legacy apps, and how it works. Okay. So anybody knows anything? I mean, before we go into more deep dive, like anybody know anything about the unified apps or PB apps or any hands-on? Maybe I would like to hear something from anybody who knows unified apps. You can speak, guys, if you know anything. No,
No, Arvind.
anyone know anything about PB apps? Anyone have
No,
hands-on?
Arvind.
Okay, no problem. Any hands-on? Maybe you can raise your hand also. Okay, no problem, guys. So as we know, UiPath apps is a kind of a low-code platforms. I mean, you can drag and drop, and you can build your UI nicely on applications, and then you can connect with your automations, and you can connect with your external system, and you can do a lot of other things, right? So you remember, like we had a legacy applications where we don't had any kind of BB expressions and everything. Then we got a BB apps with a lot of complex and you can advance features where you can write your VB expressions and you can do a lot other things, right? But that was a kind of I mean, when UiPath was thinking how we can make it more unified, I mean, bring into one systems, one platforms where you can build your solution and you can deploy your solution. So if you see in the current scenario, you have to build apps into App Studio, process into UiPath Studio, or you can say Web Studio, and then you have to do a lot of integrations here and there. So unified app is something is a kind of a new way of integrations. So we are moving away from App Studio and we are going into a Studio Web. So UiPath apps will be part of App Studio, I mean a Studio Web now, where you can create your web application and you can create your inline automations. Inline automations means that you can create on your XML file and you can write your logics, you can write your rules, and then that process you can call directly into apps, and then you can build more richer functionality into your apps now, right? If you remember, we had earlier, like you were writing the rules like a pseudo methodology and dragging and dropping the rules, and then you are calling the process, creating the connections and all those things, right? And then if you have into different places, you are going and selecting the folders, going and selecting the particular tenants, and it was kind of a little bit time consuming things, right? So now with these unified apps, we are going to overcome with those kind of problems and solutions. So now what unified's key features, like it combine the web app development plus automation tool for a streamlined process. That means like your web automations and automation tools, which is like a web studio where you are building actual process, right? Now everything is combined. So it's like a one place you are building everything. And then you have support business specific workflow and customer centric solutions. I mean, you can build the solution, you can create a package and you can deploy to the another tenant, or you can save as a template and you can reuse that template again and again, right? And then you can directly web browser, through browser you can easily access it, and then you can start your apps, right? Then advantage like integrate automation, rapid development, and scalable solutions. I mean, build once, reuse it across the solutions, and then build your workflow, and then call into your forms and see how it works now, right? Any questions before we move to another slide, guys? Cool. So web activity. So when we are moving from BB apps or legacy app into unified apps, so you must be knowing that there could be a change, right? Because that is how unified apps now. So now what we have something called web app activity. I mean, whatever you are seeing in VBX apps and or App Studio, I can say, like you have 10 or 12 rules, right? So now on the event we are writing the rules. What happens into Web Studio, these events are ruleless. I mean, there are no rules like previous way. So now what you can do, you can build automations, you can build your workflow, and then directly you can call that, and then you can write your all the logics and everything's over there. So the questions will come to in your mind, okay, then how come we can go from one page to another page? Because process just works like a pass the value and do your logic, and then if you want to return that, right? That's what we all know. Then it comes how we can do the certain things like open a page, close a page, show a message, right? These kind of things. Yes, that is possible now because that becomes kind of a web app activity now. So they have enabled something called web app activity, and through activity, you can write within automations. You can call those activity and you can write those process. So it is kind of a tightly bounded with your process and unified apps, right? So this is what we are talking about, the six activity which have right now. Open apps page. I mean, on click, if you want to open another page, this is what you can do, open apps page. Then close page, pop-up or anything. So suppose if you have open a pop-up and if you want to close those pop-up, that rules is there. Then show apps message, you want to show up some message on the submit, save or anything, so that is also possible. show hide apps and a spinner. I mean, when apps is loading, you want to show some message that your work in progress. We are trying to submit your request. Please hold on. So those kind of, you can say, spinners and message kind of things you have now into rules. Then you can open URL in apps, submit actions, and everything's up there now. So these all are actions which we can write right now into event. Now it becomes eventless, like event ruleless, and those rules becomes a part of activity now into Web Studio. Any questions here, guys? Anyone?
Arvind, I have a question for you. Okay,
Mhm.
so how it is web app activity, right? So how it is different from the traditional UiPath apps?
It's a very different. I mean, you can build, you can drag and drop, you can build your UI, but all the rules which we had traditional apps, everything's now will be written in inside a workflow. I mean, you can say earlier what we had on submit, save the record into data
Mm-hmm.
service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now what it will be now on submit, on it will be event, and then on that event button event you will call the workflow, and inside the workflow you will do data service parts, and you can write your logics and everything like how you do into process. You can build complex logic and you can do anything, right? So now you
Got it.
can do overlifting over there, and then you will have this activity as well, where if you want to show another page or you want to submit message or something, that you
Correct.
have activity now and you can do that.
Correct. So it's like more of like fitting now more into ecosystem, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
So it's now becoming more of a kind of a traditional RPA UiPath kind of approach.
Right. Got it. Thanks, Arvind. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Cool. We'll go to that. So now it's a benefit. It's like what it's a very compared to older approach. Older, you mean the web apps? It's a 6 times faster because they have built up on some things like more, you can say, advanced features and more advanced technology, so it's a more faster. So it's load very quicker, designers open very fast, and then you have a lot of maybe slowness and all that has been gone now. So that's what we are talking, uninterrupted interaction with your automation. So if you remember earlier what we were doing, we are trying to build app studio, and now if you have to go and build your process, then you go to your web studio or you go to process and build those kind of you can say, build those process, and then go and do a connections, and then bring that one inside your app studio, and then call that rules. Now you don't have to do that. In single click, in the same context, in same studio, when you are inside your development studio, everything you can do over there itself. So you don't have to go here and there to build that, and it is much more faster. In a single automation platforms, you are building everything. Then you are creating web apps backed by API, powerful UI and AI automations. I mean, AI automation, when it is talking, you can use autopilots, you can create the forms, and you can do anything, right? And then you deploy your web app project during development in an intuitive friendly environment. So earlier you have like go there, click over there and deploy all those things. Now you can go and deploy, and then benefits of some solid runtime performance, which I said, right? Now we'll go and see a small kind of demo how it works in the real time, and then you will see how it works. Okay. Any questions before we move to demo, or before I show some things? Anyone? I want to hear, guys. Maybe if you have anything, please speak, or maybe we can talk also.
Guys, feel free to ask any questions, right?
Yeah.
Are you folks working into like how many of you have done UiPath apps like or like have you tried implementing UiPath apps previously? Anyone?
Actually, we are trying to do certain demos with certain clients.
Okay, for
So
UiPath apps.
yes. So we are now focusing on exploring it more.
Amazing, amazing. What about others? Folks, you into UiPath apps?
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
no problem, guys. Maybe so. Let's go and we'll see some things. So now, if you see, you had something earlier, something called apps, right? So where you were building App Studio and everything. Let me go and share it. Show you. So where you can build it and you can create entity and you add those entity and everything. Now this part is going away. I mean, within it will be there for certain times, but as we move, as we go, this completely we are going away, and everything from apps will be migrated. You will be getting some kind of migration tool where you will migrate from Apps Studio to Web Studio. Okay, so what you have to go, you have to do that. You have to go to the kind of like Web Studio project, right? So what you need to do, you need to go to a studio underscore projects, right? So if you see here, if you create new project, it will tell you how do you want to trigger, whether you want to create manual triggers or anything. So it's nothing, it's a kind of a process. You are building your process into serverless automations on a cloud base, right? And then you are doing your logics, you are writing your logics and everything. So here itself, now you have come multiple options. I mean, you can import your project. I mean, if you have some file, you can go and import it, right? Either what you can do, you can create a new web app project. This is the new change. So now you can see new web app project, right? So this is the menu which you can see now. And now the moment you say new web app project, now you can see how fast it is compared to the app studio. It is faster because app studio was a little bit slow. So now you can see everything has been loaded. Now what you can do, you can select your cross page, and then you can try to build the page and everything, right? And then guys, you can generate the page through autopilot also. So one of the things you can notice here, when you are generating your apps now into web studio apps, you can see there is no option to generate whether data service entity or not, because you cannot do that. Now that option has gone away, so you have to go and create kind of service, data service entity. So now let's go. I'm trying to use one of the things like this one. I'm trying to use the, let's say this is kind of a company details and all. And what I can do, I can go and I can show you something data service. So in data service, let's say I want to say I want to create company. And then I will go here and create new field. And then what we need name, email, company, and file. Name, email, company, and then I can say file. And then I can select the file type here. Okay. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 fields. So now guys, what you can do, now you can go and change this project name. I can say company app, right? Now you can see, you can notice that you have publish button here directly, and then you have test on cloud. I mean, you can test it and then you can publish it. Earlier you had a preview and then publish and deploy and all those things, right? So now we can go and test it also. And the one of the exciting features which I have not talked, debugging. Debugging is something has been introduced now. So you can debug your apps. So earlier when we are building into App Studio, and suppose you have some hidden property, and based on that hidden property you are playing some rules and writing some logics, and that is not working, so it becomes a challenge for you. So how you do, you just go and put a message box and then show a message or show into data level, and then you verify whether the data is coming or value is coming from that particular objects or not, and then based on that you are writing that. Now what you can do, you can just go and debug it, and you can check those value, and you can see whether how the your apps is working or not, right? So let's go now, see guys. So now you can see this option, like this has project, this has completely moved new things, and then you have open toolbox. So now this open toolbox come here, and then you can see all the icons and everything, and you can add the details and everything here. Now let me go and say I want to add a different items. I mean, I want to call data service, I want to call a storage buckets or something else, right? Now you can see page, workflow, automation, folder, actions, variables. Wow, where is data service? Now we don't have any data service here. Where is the I mean process? We don't have process, right? So those are new changes. Now you will get confused. I mean, you are getting confused how data service will get integrated with this now, correct? So let's go and see how it works. So now, if you remember, now we had kind of an app variable also. So the moment you add entity types or you add any kind of data service entity, that will come automatically here. So right now you can see nothing is here. It's kind of blank and completely out of box variable type. Now I want to show you something. Let's get. I want to submit the records. How can we do that? So now we have to go to event, and now remember there was a rules, right? You say create a rules, right? And on that rules you select whether you want to save the data into data service or you want to do something else. There was 11, 12 rules over there, correct? So now you have to define your automations. So let's say here, define your automation. So the moment you say define your automation, you will see here one automation, I mean the workflow XAML has been generated. Correct? Now what you can do, you can create entity records. See here, create a new records for the selected entity, or you can say create entity records. So what you can do now, you can go, you don't have to do any configuration because this is already talking with your tenant in context of that. So what you can do, you can select your entity. So what entity we have created? Company, right? Now the moment we go company, you can see all the details here, company, email, name, and all other details also you can see here, right? So what we can do, we can go and now we can map with front end. So what we can say, this is main page ID, right? So leave it. So we can go here and then we can say, I want to pass my typed company name into this field. So what you need to do, you can go here and you say use variable or text builder or create variables or whatever, or you can write your own expression builder. So I will say I want to use a variable. So the moment you go and use a variable, it will let you select your variable name, right? So what I can say, I will go and select my company name and company name dot value. That's it, very simple. You don't have to do a lot of things. So similar here, go and say use variables and say email, and let's say where is my email, and then I can say value. And now similarly I have name, use variables, and this one, and I can say name, and then I can say value. Add additional property. So these are three properties supported. I mean files is not supported, guys, so don't mind. Okay, so file is not supported, and so it's there in the kind of to-do list. So now these output records, I mean the output of these created records will get stored here. Now say I want to create a variables here. So let's say I want to say, I can say company ID, and then I say a string. Let's say that. So I created a variable here. I want to set that variable value. So what I can say here, set variable value, right? So now in the set variable value, two variable, which variable you want to set? I can go to app variable and I can say company ID, and then here I can select it from the output records. So here output records, and then you can see here ID, right? So now once my record get created, I'm setting this value to company ID as app variable, and now I want to display on the front end that thank you, my records has submitted. So message. See here now workflow event. So apps message. So now I can see here, I can say title success, and then I can go here and say record created successfully, and then I can change to info to success. So these activity, if you remember, this activity was part of the rules earlier, right? Now it becomes a kind of activity here, and this is done. And now suppose I have something called another page, I want to go to that page. So let's say I want to say create a page, something you say, maybe I want to say something, let me select some page here, this page, maybe I want to say thank you page. So I can go here and change thank you for your submission, and then I can change here also, maybe I can go and change success. Okay, so now I want to go to this page and I want to put a maybe like kind of a control here, like a button control or something, just to go back, right? So I just put a button control here and I say go back, or you can say create another record, create another records, and I can do that. Now I can add some icons also here. I can say create, and then I can go and change these colors as usual. You can go and change if you want, right? And then I want to set borders, maybe 30 pixels. Okay, so now you can see in the process you have one workflow. Now on this activity, if you want to go back to the another page, what you will have to do, you will have to create another process. I mean event, because this is a kind of a click event, right? So you have to define another automation. The moment you say define automation, you can see here header content button dot clicked. Then here by what I can say, navigate or apps, open apps page, right? And then you say open apps page, then what it will select you the other page. You cannot go to the same page, right? So then it's kind of main page. So then you can select main page and you can open as a pop-up and anything. So right now I don't want to open as a pop-up, so that's it. So now go back to my original main page, and what I'm trying to see here, go to edit automations. Once my record is submit successfully, show the message, and then I want to go to my success page. So now what I can do here, I can go and say header content, and this is the header content where I have written. So guys, now go and let's test it. So what it will happen now, the moment you say test on cloud, it will run serverless on your cloud, or you can test locally, and then the moment you say locally, it will go and run in your assistant, right? So you can run on the both. So now let me go and say test on cloud, and then I will run this and I will show you. So now this is here output. Now this is compiling and creating your project and creating at the runtimes all the files, and now it's running here. So now you can see this. It's super fast. I mean, it just ran like anything. So now what you can do, you can enter your name, email, company name, and all select and everything. So now you can see I don't have any records here. I maybe if you want to see, I can refresh it and then I can show you there is no records. Now I want to save this record. So I say my name is Arvind Kumar and my email address is arvind@proinception.com. and then company name is Pro Inception, and then I can say submit. So now you see this message came here, sub records created successfully. Sorry guys. And then you can see success message here, and now you can say create another record. So now I can go back, right? As simple. So it's so fast, so quick, and everything. Now I want to show you whether records got saved or not, right? So now if I just refresh this and go to data, you can see this one record got created now just before nanosecond. Okay, now you can see that my app is still running, right? Because it's in kind of local debugging mode.
Hmm.
So the moment you can close this browser, your this automation, I mean this will get a stop, or you can stop this one from studio. The moment you stop it, this tab will get closed. Let me show you. The moment see this tab get closed, and then you can see at the runtime what all activity got successfully. I mean whether it runs or not and everything. So these all are possible now. But earlier you cannot see whether my these rules got successfully ran or not and what was the issue, right? So these also we can do that. Now one more things I want to say, I want to debug it. I want to debug this rule. Let me before debugging I want to show you something. I want to set these forms by default name. So what you can do, go to main page and I can say define an automations, and then you can see you don't have to go and do lot of mapping. You can directly set your control value from the, you can say activity here. So I can say set app variables. Sorry, no. So I can say set variable value, and then you can select change variable, and I can go here and I can say, I mean name, and I will give my name here. So this is the control which is on the main page, right? And I want to set it from the logged in user, right? So what I can do, I can go and open an expression editor, and I can just write current, I can say user context dot user dot current user dot display name. That's it. And not only these guys, I mean not only the value. Let me go and change it. So let me remove this value. And if you want to change the tooltip default value or something else, right? So you can go and change that one also. You can see that each value, maximum length, pattern required, tooltip, to string, type, these all properties are supported. So you can write all those things, and then you can, I mean you can use autopilot also, right? And then you can test also there and there itself. So if you want to test it, so let me go and show you. Open expression editor. So there is no value. Okay. So now let me go and try to show you something. So now I'm going here on main page, and I want to submit this record, and then I want to debug this saving workflow
Arvind,
file.
before that, if anyone has any question so far, right? Anyone has any question for Arvind? Uh, Guys, feel free to ask.
Yeah, if I'm going fast also, guys, let me know. I can little bit slow also for your understanding.
I think Arvind, you're good to go. Yeah.
Okay, good guys, thank you. So now, okay, before debug, let me run and show you this how this set value and everything is working, right? So let me go and run this again now. So now you can see this again output, and you can even, and you can do the best thing, you can generate the logs also, and you can send these logs to, I mean whoever is asking for your logs, right? So now you can see here, one second, where I have written on the stop delete automations. Control start main page, not name. Yeah, that should work. Test on cloud. Okay, you can see here this by default got set it. I mean, earlier you have to go and map with those variables, and then you can do those. I mean, you can do that. It's but now I can feel it a little bit more softer, and it's much easier to do that. And you can write your logics. You can write your. I mean, you if you want, you can trim it down. You can do a number of things like as BB supports, right? Now let me go and I would say stop this, and I want to debug this process. So I'm going on submit button, and before going to another page, I will put here a breakpoint, right? Now once that happens, I can put another breakpoint here, maybe on the load page. I can put a breakpoint, right? 1 second. What happened? Saving is taking time. I want. Let me refresh this. One sec. Okay, now I'm going to my main page, and I have this set variable rules. I can say add breakpoint, and then next breakpoint I'm putting on my submit open page. So before going back to the another page, I want to test something. So now what I can do, I go and test on cloud. So now you can see the moment it runs, the debugger will get started, and you can see the debugger on the main page. So you can see here pause in main this page.xml. I mean, we have enabled debugger, and that's the reason there is a pause. So now you can see here stop it, or you can say continue. So the moment I will say continue, it will go and execute this event activity, and then it will go to the next one. So let me go and say run this. So now it becomes continue, and now I have put another debugger on submit. So now I will say and then I will say submit. So now you can see here again I have a debugger here. So before I go and do, I mean say I say continue, let's go to the studio. Now in the studio, you can see stop, continue, or next step. You can see that too also here. So you can go to next step, or you can continue like a studio does, right? And then you have in something in the right panels, which is output of your design time, right? And then the output you can see settings, then you have manager, right? In the app manager, you can see how many records or anything are there, right? And then you have something called run outputs and all. And then there is something called watch panel. So you guys are very much aware because guys are super expert on RPA automations and everything, right? So you know how watches works into RPA Studio. You go and check your output or value, and then you try to debug those process. So those things was missing into apps. Now what you can do now, suppose I want to check what is the ID, this ID, right? Because I don't know. So what I can do, I can just go and say app variable dot company ID also, or I can say company ID. So I can say company, or I can say yeah, out. One check. Why it's not working? It's loading. So I can say 1 second, guys. Output record dot. Hold on. So I can say output record dot ID. So see here, I just put output record dot ID. I mean this ID. This is kind of output records which was coming, and I want to see what is the ID coming in this one. So now you can see here B6 and all those things. If you want to verify, I can go here. This is 06. and then I can go and refresh this newly created, and you can see here B6, A, C, B, and all those things, right? Now we can show these value B, C, and all those things. So this is how you can debug it. I mean, you can put a lot of debugging part over there, and you can do a lot of other things, right? And then yeah, this is one of the kind of solid feature for debugging. And then I can say continue. The moment I say continue, it will go and complete this activity again. And then because right now a pause here, right? The moment I say continue again, the pause got away, and then I can say create another record. So now again going back, right? So I will say go, and now I can just go and stop the app. Okay, any questions, guys, on the debugging part?
Arvind, can we see the local panel and is it exactly the same we have in Studio? The debugging.
Debugging is same as a web studio. I cannot compare with
Okay.
studio, but it's like a studio web. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's a similar things. You can do a lot of things. Yeah. Now I want to show records because maybe guys you will be thinking, okay, now we did build our apps. Now we want to create a home page. How can we do that, right? So let's say I have a display control here. So I can go here and say I have a display control and say tables. Now I want to get all my records from the data service into this table. How can we do that? So the moment you go earlier, you have data source. So now you can do also, you can go and use app variables, or you can create your workflow, or you can write your expression editor. So the moment you say create workflow, it will come here and automatically these rules will be there. Query entity records. And then what you have to do, you have to just expand it, and then you can select your query. The good things, like if you have any entity which is already used inside apps, that will tell you used in this project, and this you can see company, but available entity which is not used in this project you can see below. So now I want to display the my company details here. I can say company, and then you can, I mean, filter based on some logics. You can write your filter, right? And then if you want to write your file filter, and then you can see how many records you want to, I mean, return it and all those things, and you can see, and these total records will come here. And then this is output records. So total records and between output records. Total records is a kind of server side call which will give you the total count of your records, which is more than 1,000. It could be anything. But output records is something which is always will be 1,000 records based on your query parameter. So you can just filter out and you get those output records are kind of where condition, but it cannot exceed more than 1,000. Okay. Now, if you see here, I just close this now. If I go back to my, 1 second, what is this? Okay, I will remove this debugger now, breakpoint, because I don't want to show any message. I will go and remove breakpoint. So now I will go here, and now you can see automatically my all the columns got mapped here. So you can see company, email, file, names, and everything. So you don't have to do anything, right? Now, suppose if you added a new, you can say field, what you need to do. So you need to do here, and then you can see here, maybe, let me show you. Now, if you suppose I added one more field in company, let's say company address. No, this is not data. I will add field address, and then I save it. Now I go back here, and I say to my, I will go to my data source, table data source, and if I go, the moment I go here, you can see here, open data manager, and then you can see entity also, right? So you can see total 2 records, and this entity you have update entity column. I mean table icons. You can say update entity. The moment you update your entity, it will go and update. I mean total records or fetch new data types or anything. And then if I go back, you can go and change also here if you want, and you can go and add it manually. Okay, so that's what we can do. That now if I run this should display me the list of records here. So now I go and run this page. So give me a second. So you cannot see, I think, but yeah, you can see there are two records, right, which we submitted during the demo. So this is what we can do, and then you can write your long logics, and you can build your nice apps, all those things. Maybe we can go for the next question and answer. Then Gajanan, I think I'm done with demo. Anyone have any questions on this demo, and then we can move to the in general discussion, or if you have any feedback, or if you want to know more about apps, and otherwise if you are facing any challenge, feel free to speak, and I'm ready to talk on that point. Okay.
Guys, any questions for Arvind? Do not hesitate to ask.
There are three things. Akshita working now, it's a permission issue with my browser. Okay, no problem.
Suraj, Aditya, Vinit, Tushar, Ashwini Kumar.
Was it not good demo or what?
Uh,
You guys are not
can we explore this on community? Do we have any limitations?
community? It is already there. You can install your cloud. I mean, you can go and start your. It's already there into public tenant.
Okay.
It's only on cloud. It's not there on. I mean, you can say on prem or automation suites or anything. So it's there only on cloud right now. Anyone else?
I think there are no more questions from anyone, Arvind. Thank you so much, Arvind, for giving time. And thank you, everyone, for joining the session. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks, Arvind.